Hey everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about Facebook's outage and the recent 60 Minutes report on Facebook. Alright, welcome back. First in this video, make sure that you like, subscribe. The more like subscribes you get, the more content we can make. The number one reason why you subscribe to this amazing YouTube channel is to get into money-making trends before they go mainstream. So, Facebook has had two major things that has happened to it in the last 48 hours. First, there's been a 60 Minutes interview claiming from an insider whistleblower that the company does way more harm and it's not doing anything about it. And the second thing is that if you were on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, you'll probably notice that yesterday it was out. There was a huge outage, and I'm going to be talking about that as well. So let's talk about the outage first. Now, the outage was pretty big. In fact, it's estimated that there has been over 6 billion hours of human time lost on Facebook. Now, personally, I don't really use Facebook, but I did try logging in yesterday, and of course it didn't work. Now, the big thing for me is that I do talk to some of my freelancers on WhatsApp, and WhatsApp was down. So this is something that's interesting. Now, the other thing that you have to understand, and that's really key about this, is that it is technology, and technology can fail. And one of the things that is really booming right now is crypto. And remember, crypto is technology and it can also fail. Now, I also happen to have a lot of crypto, but I also have some really hard assets as well, such as gold and silver. And this is something that you need to understand, that if technology fails and all your money is tied up in crypto or digital dollars, well, those things can absolutely stop working at any given time. The only real true wealth is physical metals, and that is gold and silver. Now, these two metals have thousands of years of history of stores of value, and you should own some, because if you don't own any and, well, technology fails, you might not have anything to buy your groceries with. And this is the one thing that you need to understand. I happen to have some gold and silver, some crypto. You need to be very diversified today. Now, what apparently happened is that Facebook was hacked, and the hackers sold a lot of information online. Now, this goes to show you that any company could be hacked at any given time, so you have to be careful with your information, no matter who you are. So I don't really go on Facebook, and I definitely don't post on Facebook because I don't think it's a good use of time. And I go on Instagram even less because, well, I think even Instagram is an even bigger waste of time. And I've said in the past that Instagram is probably the worst social media platform that you can be on. It's not worth your time. It's not worth any time. You should use your social media time to do something and get better at something. So that segues us into our next topic, which is that there has been a whistleblower that has leaked a lot of documents from Facebook saying that it does more harm than good. This should absolutely surprise nobody because over the last 5 years, Facebook has been probably the biggest thing that has made America more divided. So in the 60 Minutes interview, the whistleblower has said that the biggest change was in 2018 when they changed the news feed. And the news feed optimized for engagement. And one of the things that makes content engaging is if you disagree with it, and if you disagree with it enough to argue with someone online. And that argument with another person online is not a recipe for success. Because one of the things that most people don't understand is that when you are arguing with someone over a computer, it's like you're talking to your microwave. You can yell at your microwave and the microwave doesn't really care. But you have to understand when you're yelling at your computer or you're arguing with someone on your computer, there is another person on the other end. And that other person might not take kindly to anything that is worded the least bit confrontational. Because when you're online, you have to really make sure that what you say is very polite. You have to be almost way more polite online than you have to be in real person. And this highlights a huge change because most people would go to school or go to a community and have a diverse group of opinions. Now, of course, some areas might have less diverse groups of opinions, but nevertheless, you would have somewhat of a diverse opinion. When you are on social media and all of these other platforms, you're in a filter bubble, and Facebook just made those filter bubbles way worse. And furthermore, if you stepped outside that filter bubble, it would be more engaging. In fact, Facebook would absolutely show you the most engaging thing. And this was the biggest cause of all of the controversy that Facebook has been getting. So that 2018 change was significant, and it seems like Facebook has done nothing to address it. So what happened after the US elections is that there was an integrity unit at Facebook, and that unit got disbanded after the elections. And what happened after the elections is that there was no one to check all the extreme content going on, and then the Capitol riots happened. And Facebook does have a huge role in that. Now let me be clear, that's not a good thing that a company could do. Believe it or not, if you start a riot or instigate a riot or fuel a riot, that might be illegal in some areas of the world. And if Facebook was integral to the Capitol riots, then there probably should be some consequences. So according to this whistleblower, Facebook did help those riots happen. Now, according to this whistleblower, Facebook knows about the problem and is doing nothing to stop it. Now, this is a huge problem, according to the SEC, because the SEC will say that Facebook is misleading their investors. Now, if I was an investor in Facebook and they told me nothing was wrong and that they're doing something to fix it, and apparently they're not, that's a huge problem. So I see lots of trouble ahead for Facebook. Now, the other thing this whistleblower said is that they found out that Instagram harms teen girls' health. In fact, it makes suicidal thoughts go up. And the crazy thing about this is that once girls go onto Instagram, they want to consume it more. And this is not very good. And Facebook was purportedly making an Instagram for kids, and I'm so glad that got scrapped. Nevertheless, there needs to be a lot more transparency, and of course this transparency isn't going to happen. Now, the few things that would absolutely fix this problem is that, number one, if all of the ads on Facebook were completely public, is that you could see every single ad that was going on for any given reason. Now, Facebook's going to say that that is a privacy issue, and frankly, it's not. If you have one business doing one ad, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, advertising is a great way for a business to reach its customers. But if there are nefarious actors that are stroking discord within the community, that's not a good thing. And we should be able to see who is posting what when. Now, of course, Facebook is going to fight that tooth and nail, and it's probably not going to happen, but that would absolutely fix the problem. So I can tell you from my own personal experiences, once I started consuming social media less and I started doing literally anything else, I felt a lot better. I felt quite a bit less angry, and I'm doing something productive with my time. If you want to stop social media and learn to code, that you're going to be richer in the future if you do that, because social media isn't really good use of time altogether. Now, again, I talk about social media all the time. Perhaps if you are going to go into Twitter, you have to follow the people that help educate you. You're going on Twitter to educate yourself, not waste your time. The same thing with Reddit. If you are going to use these social media platforms, you're going to do that. Now, what is the real utility of Facebook? Now, I've been on Facebook since, 2006 when I was in university. And how often do I go back and look at those pictures? Well, practically never. But Facebook does have, in theory, a timeline of your life. But I don't even use that timeline. I just use Apple Photos instead. Now, not everyone's going to go into Apple, and you can't talk to your friends that way. So I really think there needs to be a decentralized social media platform. And I've said this in the past, but Brave could actually do it. The people behind the Brave browser could make a decentralized social media platform that's very similar to the Brave browser, and it wouldn't have a lot of the problems that Facebook would have. If there was an alternative, I would suggest they switch. Now, the other thing that Facebook is looming, just like all the other big tech companies, is a potential breakup. For example, if Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp were all completely different companies, they would have a lot more competition. And I think that's a good thing, because remember that competition is a good thing. If they did break up Facebook and Instagram, I think that would be a really good thing, because now you could have a choice. Now, one of the least likely contenders in this race for social media is Apple. I would trust Apple far more than any of these other social media companies. But again, I think the number one alternative to Facebook would be a decentralized platforms. I would like to talk to my friends, see photos of my friends, and I would rather not go on Facebook at all. Because when I scroll through Facebook, it's almost nothing but ads these days. It's little content. Now, of course, if Brave Technologies did make a Facebook alternative, well, of course there would be ads, but they would be far less intrusive than Facebook. And the algorithm, if it was decentralized, people could see exactly what's going on. And chances are, if everyone switched off of Facebook to a decentralized app, I bet you society would start to heal. And that's another thing that the whistleblower said. Facebook knows that its product strokes discord within societies. It actually said that. So in conclusion, Facebook has a rocky road ahead of it, and if you are on Facebook, I would just recommend stop going onto Facebook and doing something productive with your time. Remember that every time you spend on social media is time you could be spending doing anything else. And believe it or not, you could be doing anything like learning to code, or you can be improving yourself, you can go exercise, or you can just sit and meditate and do nothing. One of the things I really like to do is just sit for maybe 10 or 15 minutes and do nothing. Clear my mind, and I think that's a way better use of time than going onto Facebook. And I think it's a better use of time than arguing with people online, because you're not really going to get anywhere. Now, if you are going to have great discussions, it's best to do it in person and not online. All right, so that concludes this video. Do you like Facebook? Do you hate Instagram just like me? I want to know your comments down below. Remember that this channel does new Patreon said we sell our digital products down below. The more we're going to get from the content that you buy below, the more content on this channel we can make. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.